Those who feel that the WTO is obsolete are not, in my view, giving sufficient weight to its record of considerable achievement since its establishment in 1995. For example, there were very significant agreements on trade in financial services and in liberalization of basic telecommunication services in the early years of the WTO. The agreement on telecoms was a major achievement which resulted in markets opening up throughout the world, and the competitive liberalization of telecom services resulted in major benefits for consumers around the world. In addition to that, there were major achievements in the information technology area, which freed up trade for information technology goods. There was an extremely significant agreement on the relationship between the WTO agreement in the intellectual property area and public health, which had benefits for access to medicines on the part of developing countries. And the launch, indeed, of the Doha round itself was no mean accomplishment. We certainly do need to have a World Trade Organization because it provides a legally binding framework within which predictable international trade can take place. And I believe that the true value of the World Trade Organization has become apparent in recent years when the world has been facing economic and financial crises of almost unprecedented proportions, and when the threat of protectionism has reared its ugly head. The WTO provides an insurance policy against that and regulates the behavior of countries in their international trade, and has a legal system for the settlement of disputes, so that without the World Trade Organization, the last few years of our history would have been a much more chaotic place with beggar thy neighbor trade policies, which would have reduced the world economy to a much, much worse state. So I think people should take into account the true value of the World Trade Organization as the bedrock of the global trading system. One of the biggest challenges facing the World Trade Organization is to find a way of concluding global trade agreements. As we know, the Doha round of international trade negotiations has been underway for 10 years now, and while the members of the WTO have come close to agreement on a number of occasions, they have yet to conclude the deal. The WTO needs to be an effective forum for international trade negotiations. Otherwise, as has tended to happen in recent years, countries will go off and conclude regional or bilateral trade agreements, which, while producing some advantages, in fact also create a very complicated situation for international business. So we need the WTO to succeed so that everyone is playing on the same level playing field.